great. He has no choice to make this. His hands are tied. He has to, guys. He's got to make this. Evidence.zip. Oh shit, this was where it all started. This and the pants.
I'm now going to tell you the true story behind Evidence.zip. I'm violating multiple people's privacy by doing this, but there's no other choice. 10 years ago, I made a thread on Smashboards that advocated for a ledge grab limit being added to the Melee rule set. I knew this rule needed to be implemented for a lot of reasons, but at the time, people didn't realize that. I assured people that one day they'd realize that I wasn't kidding.
No, I think it was
the same day I made my thread, a user named Leffen went well out of his way to destroy it. Leffen and I didn't even know each other, but he came across as incredibly angry and determined to undermine my credibility. He insulted me many times and told me that I was a moron for thinking that camping the ledge is broken.
Okay, let me actually read this, because he brings up Sheik's ledge stalling, and even Marth's ledge stalling. There's a lot of counters to it, and the reason you don't see it is... It's the same with Jigglypuff's ledge stalling. Like, obviously people figured out counters to it. The choice you make as a player, do you want to try to counter something where this person's worked on it a lot and you maybe haven't? So that's why I felt like it was overreactive, because like Shino stalling is not safe. You know, Mewtwo King Classic of doing the runoff back air. Like, it's amazing how much more he gets punished for that. While in the old days, like, people would just, like, freak out and, like, do nothing, and then he gets a grab. And partly due to crouch canceling, but people crouch canceled back then. It was just, you know, everyone got better, and, you know, like, Mewtwo King began when people were just starting to discover what exactly you could do with the ledge. And it wasn't even just him. I mean, he became famous for it. But Korean DJ, I think it was mainly Korean DJ and Mewtwo King who really pushed that meta. And then, of course, there was Brawl, which had its own issues. Okay, move on. Hacks, you're such a scrub. No offense. You literally have... Okay. Okay, I guess I'll read it. You literally have no idea whatsoever on what makes something bannable, and your examples are even worse than somebody's. Seriously, learn how to fucking present your thoughts, and learn how to use good examples and reasoning for it to be implemented. Alright, deal with it. Oh, and Sheik's ledge stalling is fucking horrible. I wouldn't go that far, but it really isn't safe. Like, you can practice, and you don't even have to have a shine. You can steal the ledge, and that Sheik is dead. Yeah, what else are you gonna say about it? It's not safe. It's something you should know how to do as a Sheik, but it's like it's only gonna work against somebody who's not practiced against it. Even Ganon, roll light shield, Hog. Yeah. Okay, Bear with clanking with up hitbox. Oh, okay, just slip off grab ledge. Oh, that's cool. So the Shino stall, the reason people thought it was safe was because the up B has a hitbox, and so you up B down. But you can clank. Oh, that's cool. Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to counter it. Anyways, and like Ganon's a terrible character, so a slow character can counter it. Goes to show you that it's not that good. What is Sheik game when Ganon fails? That is comparable either... Oh, right. So if the Ganon fails, how bad is Ganon? Right. All of her ledge hop tools are really unsafe, depending on percents. 12%. I wouldn't call that nothing, but whatever. I don't even think she can... I think this was the old thought when you couldn't get out of Sheik's chain grabs. I believe now he can get out sooner than that. I'm confused by the 0 to 80%. I'm pretty sure that's not true anymore. Okay. I could make a video if you still believe that Sheik stalling is anything less than a waste of time. The other thought process for doing anything like this is you can condition your opponent. For instance, when Hungrybox was ledge stalling, you can. What you do is you create a rhythm, like in a footsie based game, which is kind of how Jigglypuff plays. You create a rhythm, and then you can go out of the rhythm. And the other player, if they're even, like if you're on Battlefield and you're in mid, Hungrybox can get to mid quicker than you can realize. And so you can't fall asleep. And Hungrybox has caught people sleeping in major tournaments by not ledge stalling and they die, but by him ledge stalling and them falling asleep and he hits them. He got a sick pound against Armada doing that once. I want to say it was Armada, and it was like somebody who like shouldn't have fallen asleep. Yeah, dude, and he just pounds in, and you're like, what? Mind blown. Okay. It's fucking horrible compared to Yoshi's. I didn't know that. And Fox's. Oh, well, Fox is good at everything. But never mind. Hacks is gonna go with my dad would own your dad type of argument, so why do I even bother? What is. I don't get the original post. Could you put up your post? I think that would help me deal with this. That said, I don't see any problem whatsoever with enforcing a ledge grab rule. Okay. I actually think he's. Okay, let's finish. I mean, who would actually be against playing in an environment with it implemented? We don't have a perfect, reasonable explanation on why we ban pound stalling. That's banned. I didn't know that. Huh. I know you can't sang stall. You can sang grab ledge and then kill them, but you can't sang stall. I didn't know pound stalling was banned. Is that still banned? Weird. Ban certain stages wobbling. Right. Even with wobbling, ice climbers are a mid tier at best. Why not just implement a rule that I can assure you very few people would protest against, and that would benefit the community immensely? On another thought, though, Yoshi would suffer. Keep in mind that you would only buy your cliffhanger. Fuck? What? Keep in mind, though, that you would only buy your cliffhanger if the match goes to time. I don't get it. I I mean he doesn't maybe do it in the nicest way possible, but he does say your arguments were wrong, but I don't have a problem with the ledge grab limit, which again I think is stupid. You should have as little rules as possible. Like the less rules always benefits everyone. You make a rule because you are forced to, not because you don't like something. Any other approach to humanity, I think, is the wrong one.
Credibility. He insulted me many times and told me that I was a moron for thinking that camping the ledge is broken.
Okay, but he...
8 years later, Leffen would be begging tournament organizers for thinking that camping the ledge is broken. 8 years later, Leffen would be begging tournament organizers to implement a ledge grab limit because of how broken camping the ledge is, according to his own words. Players like HBox and Mewtwo had shown that ledge camping needed to be banned by then, and so Leffen was now in agreement with what I'd been saying since 2011. Ledge camping is of how broken. Insulted me.
Hex. This video sucks. He literally says, I don't have a problem with the ledge grab rule. He thinks it would improve gameplay, even though he doesn't feel ledge grab is broken. Now, I don't know the original post, but I believe this is again a different topic, which is Jigglypuff and Sheik. Now again, people brought up ledge grab limits due to players outperforming people thought how good they should. Obviously, people were able to deal with Mewtwo ledge shenanigans. People eventually were able to deal with Hungrybox's ledge shenanigans. Hungrybox gets a lot of bad rap for winning due to turtling, and I think if you watch his play, there are extreme examples of him turtling, and there's also examples of him being quite aggressive. And I think he actually mixes it up really well, and that's why he continued to win. But he agreed with you.
8 years later, Leffen would be begging tournament organizers to implement a ledge grab limit because of how broken camping the ledge is, according to his own words. Players like HBox and Mewtwo had shown that ledge camping needed to be banned by then, and so Leffen was now in agreement with what I'd been saying since 2011. Luckily for Leffen, I was working on a YouTube video about ledge camping around that same time. My video went in depth about why a ledge grab limit was needed, and would end up convincing the community that I was right all along. Leffen had no choice but to endorse my video at that point, but you can see how even then, he did so in a reluctant tone.
Why is it reluctant? How do you...
But to endorse my video at that point, but you can see how even then, he did so in a reluctant tone.
I guess.
The problem with today's situation is that when Leffen throws a narcissistic tantrum like the one he threw in 2011, thousands of people will actually listen to him. Back then, this wasn't as much of an issue, but it was still a huge one. As time went on, Leffen would destroy many of my threads, even though I'd never done anything to him, and it began to intrude on...
Well, hold on, let's see this. Alright. You know what? I should just let it go.
2011, thousands of people will actually listen to him. Back then, this wasn't as much of an...
Okay, but again, I also agree that anecdotal evidence is the worst. It's not an invalid thing to talk about in an argument because your anecdotal evidence may be applicable, but it's a sample size of one. So, what's your, like, get over yourself, Hacks. This video should be called Evidence Hacks Needs to Grow Up.
An issue, but it was still a huge one. As time went on, Leffen would destroy many...
Oh, at what points? No, I mean, yeah, Falcon will never win, guys. Continue maining him, you couple of crybabies. But Hacks, that's all you used to do. That's all you would do. That's all you still do is complain about how bad... Okay, maybe these days you don't talk about it as much. For a long, long time, even when you switched to Fox, you would talk about how bad Captain Falcon was. I remember this great Scar and Toph show where you call in and Scar answers the phone and you say, all right, I'm going to give you the secret strategy to win in this game. You're going to want to press start, LRAB, reset the game. And you'll go to the screen where you'll see, yeah, you guys should watch it. It's hilarious. Oh, man. That shit about Peach dash attack being broken. Okay, Peach has a really good dash attack, but Leffen did become... He was the reason Armada switched to Fox, not Hungrybox. The evidence of this is Armada... Armada had other characters. He did play Peach. He played the young Lake. And he was able to deal with Hungrybox still. When Leffen started to beat his Peach, I mean, you could say it had to do with both of them, but I think it had more to do with Leffen.
Of my threads, even though I'd never done anything to him, and it began to intrude on my free speech pretty severely.
No, you're... Insulting someone is an infringement of free speech. Are you dumb? Sheik is the very same, but worse to tech chase with, since she has less frame advantage after her grab and she is way slower than Falcon. Right, everybody... Oh my god, were you saying Sheik is a better tech chaser than Captain Falcon? Okay, maybe she's a better character, but she has a way worse tech chase. Right. Yes, her dash attack is very good, but right, it works worse and worse and worse. Yeah, okay. This is not to mention that Mewtwo never reacts and always reads you. Right, and Mewtwo famously isn't that good at tech chasing. He kind of... He'll mainly just do a read. It's funny that Mewtwo was called the robot, considering a lot of his gameplay is based on reads. He actually hates tech chasing. Yeah, you don't. Yes, even you, Mewtwo King, can do this. I have no problem with this. He's just disagreeing with you, buddy.
In February 2012, I'd had enough, and so I condemned Leffen in a post that told him to never use my name again.
So you're telling him not to speak freely.
I also let him know that he was a menace who would inevitably cause the community problems in the future. After I made my post, Leffen's harassment didn't just get worse, it turned into stalking. I couldn't really go anywhere on the boards without Leffen being there, and it began to affect me a lot as a teenager. Smashboards was the only form of social media back then, and so this reached the point of me not wanting to sign onto social media at all. By early 2013, things had gotten to the point where I knew that Leffen needed to be banned from the community, and so I reached out to Armada. What Armada told me in response caught me by surprise. Armada told me that there was already a team of Swedes working to ban Leffen, that I was welcome to join them. This is how I became involved with Evidence.zip. When Armada declared Leffen's ban
Okay, again, I know Leffen got banned in Sweden.
Official.
Armada, he was still your teammate. Or, that's not the right word. He was a guy you trusted. I mean, he's not your brother. But you put a lot of faith in him as somebody who could help you win tournaments back then. So, I feel like using Armada as the guy to say, Leffen is a bad person is kind of weird. I think Armada understood that Leffen had a very sharp personality that obviously doesn't mesh with hacks, but was also one of the best smashers in the world, even before he won tournaments.
On February 9, 2013, he published some but not all of Evidence.zip. This is because Evidence.zip consisted of two parts, public forum posts and private testimonies. What you're looking at is the folder that was originally distributed to the public, which contained the forum posts. I'm the one who compiled the document with Leffen's Smashboards forum posts, which is why some people think I created Evidence.zip. I didn't necessarily create Evidence.zip, because other than that, I was just another person who testified. However, it is true that I bridged the gap between Sweden and North America. The private testimonies within Evidence.zip were never released due to their private nature. I'm going to betray several of my friends by showing them to you, because the world needs to see them. Evidence.zip consisted of 3 Swedish players, 3 Swedish TOs, and 3 American players. One of the American players and all 3 of the Swedish players are what we'll call prospects. These were people who felt that Leffen had made it his goal to remove them from the Smash community. I just so happened to be the sole American prospect. Other than that, there were 5 more people who felt that what they witnessed was more than enough to warrant banning Leffen. Armada was one of those 5 people. There's also a 10th document titled Letter to Genesis 3 staff that was written by the Swedes collectively. Genesis 3 was originally supposed to happen in summer 2013, hence the title of the letter. There's only one document I can't show you, and that is the 3rd Swedish Smasher's testimony. There are reasons I can't get into this testimony, so I'll be skipping it. Other than that, I'll be showing you excerpts from each of these testimonies.
Now let's move along, come on. Okay, someone felt bad. I suffer from the... Your emotional state. I'm not going to say mental illnesses don't exist. If you have a mental illness, then you need to be even more defensive about your emotional state. If Leffen is harassing you, that's a crime. Let the judge decide. Why did we get the sick music now? I know, this is kind of cool. He just made fun of me. What? Did I take LSD? What? Okay. Alright, why not talk to him? I confronted him for stealing. That's funny. I know Leffen said somebody else was stealing money. He was talking about someone else, though. But again, this is Either all of these claims, the only crime they would be is harassment. Either he's harassing you or he's not. If you feel like he's harassing you, do more about it than this. Simple as that. Bop, bop, bop. Ooh, this song is sick. Sorry. Okay. Forgiveness. I do think that's not okay for him to post about your mental illness online. Uh, I, I just, I obviously heard about this. I knew Leffen was banned from the scene in Sweden. I have, in the end, I don't care what a community does. If they feel like Leffen is a disruptive force, don't allow him in the community. I wasn't there. Should he be banned for life? No. This is still player one's testimony? Okay, never mind. Holy crap, we're just gonna let it play. I am now scared. This is not only justice, it is a necessity. Please help us. I am not trying to say what Leffen did to you is okay. And I'm not saying, again, it didn't ban him being removed from the Swedish scene. The problem is, you're not a victim. And this reads like you're a victim. Just because you're not a victim, which means there's not a crime, it doesn't mean Leffen shouldn't be removed from this community. Communities can make decisions about who they want with them and who they don't. That would be a healthy way to deal with this. What is going on now is somebody highlighting, gaslighting, you could say, certain events to make somebody look worse than they are. I do want to point out one thing. He mentions that Leffen's disruptive attitude, what was the word he used? His horrible behavior, escalated the better he became. I can relate to that. And what I'm trying to say is, when I get better at something, I have a shorter fuse when it comes to dealing with people who I'll use Leffen's words, and I would say the same thing, who I think are dumb. I've been accused of being a troll, an alpha male, although sometimes they're joking, sometimes, I don't know, maybe I can't tell, maybe they aren't, too edgy, too aggressive. I would say it as simple as, I like to get to people to understand who I am as quickly as possible. And either you understand what I'm trying to get across or you don't. And if you understand it, we can have a relationship that is functional. And if you don't, we will have a dysfunctional relationship that probably we shouldn't talk to each other anymore. Now, they're saying Leffen won't leave them alone. I do. I don't want to ever talk to you again if I feel like we don't meet that base level. The reason I have that attitude is like someone has to have a certain amount of base desire. This You have to show me that you care enough to get better. Because some people will ask for help in anything, even simpler games than Melee, which is incredibly complicated, and they don't get better. And to me, that's insulting. It's like you want help, but you do nothing with it. It's like people in this forum bend to your needs. I've seen it, and yet these people don't improve. So I actually think their behavior is should be a crime. Uh, Again, I think Leffen went beyond this, but these are people who are very biased against him. I wasn't there. Right, please help me. Oof. Okay, this guy has a hearing disability. I wasn't there. Again, this sounds like his removal from the Swedish community sounds fine. Again, I don't know if we have to have all of this in this video right now. It's almost like it's okay for something to have passed. It's okay for Leffen to have been a person worth banning, and for him to not be a person worth banning now. Again, medical disabilities are always different than anything else. I don't know what to say. Again, like when somebody says he's keeping me out of conversations, that's his perspective of what's happening, and Leffen may have had a different perspective of the situation, and the other people in that party may have had a different perspective. Unfortunately, all of us, or I wasn't there. Maybe somebody watching this was there. I don't know. Um, the last thing I'd say is this was only 3 people in hacks. I don't know. Question mark. Somewhere in the late part of 2011, I realized we have only one guy in this community that is actually working hard to make people feel worse. Again, very shortly after this, he's at your side when you win a tournament and you hug him. Yeah. I believe the same thing as Leffen. Um, Too much time, people waste time on cordialities, on cordial behavior that is a triviality, and it wastes time. God, I guess this video should be about me too. Uh, yeah, it's like you're there to win. That's that's just how it is. I mean, Armada was that way. He was there to win. You could that was the one thing about Armada when he was a competitor that was true. He was there to win. He wasn't there to make friends. I'm not saying he didn't make friends. And it's like he didn't even get along with people from America at first. He didn't. Why? Because he wanted to win and they wanted to win. It happens. I do want to read Armada's more. Oh, I don't know how to explain how cruel this person is. God, why are you talking about him that way? Again, if we're going to talk about the whole story of Armada and Leffen, why did Armada go from talking about him so often in the third person to he became a second person, for him? Like, why not just say, I don't know how to explain how cruel Leffen is? Instead, this person. So he's trying to dehumanize him. I think if you had just said his name, it would be more impactful. But whatever. So yeah, again, he was banned. Maybe it was deserved, but the TO eventually felt like he was a person he could be friends with. I think you'd call them friends. I don't know. Maybe they're not. They seem like friends to me. Leffen and Mewtwo King seem like friends, but they weren't at one point. They definitely weren't. This is really weird. So, I'm trying to get the timeline. This is Armada retired then. Wait, I thought Armada retired after Apex. This is so weird. He says he's better than him, but Armada hasn't won I thought Armada retires, then Melee comes back. Am I getting the timeline wrong? It's just I'm having a I wish like this is really weird for me to read from Armada because see, I haven't really derived value from playing him. That's not true. Or at least it wasn't true soon. Okay, that's fine. Quick story about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, this is a quote. It was a racist quote. If he had been in the NBA now and he said this, he would probably, I don't know what would happen anymore. He probably would get suspended for it. Look, the white guys, they work hard, they listen to coach, but they can't play. I don't know. And the black guys, I don't even know why we have them around here. That's what he said. And I love him for it because that was said in 1987 or 88. And his teams were not very good at first. They were barely making the playoffs in the weak Eastern Conference with mainly losing records. And they had Michael Jordan, who one of the greatest players of all time. You really shouldn't compare players who played in different eras of basketball. It doesn't make sense. You could say comparing anyone to anyone doesn't make sense. He also said this about Horace Grant, who became his number two before Scotty really became Scotty. Horace was the number two and became a number two, number three on the Orlando Magic, but almost won a title. Um, yeah, number two, number three. Like he was kind of like it was like Peyton and him. Um, Horace, you are so stupid. You are so stupid. Name one play we run. Name one play. That's the kind of person Michael was. And that's okay. Because they're professionals. And Leffen did become a professional. Armada became a professional. I don't know if you'd call them professionals then. I think they both had day jobs. Or they weren't supporting themselves off of Melee. Nah. But I don't understand this musical choice. I kind of want to skip this. He has on several occasions harassed and spread lies about other smashers, which still happens regularly. I... Whoa, okay. I see it as my responsibility to summon the police if he intrudes and refuses to immediately leave. Okay, well, hold on. This is getting extreme. I, as a relatively frequent host, has made a personal decision to never permit Leffen's attendance until he is proven to be worthy. Just use a different word there. A service I provide by renting, a venue. Understood. Running tournaments was not, I wouldn't call it hard. It was just it was so much different back then. There was so much more personal onus on somebody. It was really stressful. Now, again, it's way easier than it is now, but the difference is nowadays, tournament organizers can make money. They have a huge staff. It's just, back then it was like one guy, usually somebody competing, and he would have to, organize all this fucking bullshit. So it's something I would never have done. It gives, yes, if you're hosting a tournament, you have the right to decide who enters the venue. I completely agree. This is the one that makes the most sense to me. He runs a tournament. He doesn't want this guy there. Done. Problem over. What is this music? Oh my god. Never in my life have you encountered someone as vile. Oh, jeez, man. You would not like to talk to me. I swear more than Leffen does. Okay. This is a huge deal. I don't know if you know this. Melee used to have an issue with sandbagging. Mango was part of this. Mewtwo King was part of this. I'm not saying it was always monetarily motivated, but sandbagging in tournaments was something that was a big problem for the legitimate competitive field of Melee in these earlier days. Mewtwo King has gotten in trouble for sandbagging over monetary reasons. I don't know if Mango ever got in trouble for. I don't think it was ever monetarily motivated for him. But he still received a lot of criticism for sandbagging. He was very famous for it, right? The goat, the kid, the buster. There's a reason that's his third, and he's accepted it, right? That was part of who he was. He would bust. he did it a lot. It is what it is. He did it a lot. So I'm not saying he sandbagged, but just the fact they agreed to split the money. Mewtwo King got in trouble for trying to split the money and sandbagging before. It doesn't look good, Hacks. In fact, I would say it looks better for Leffen than you, because this was something that was a problem in the community. I don't know, dude. Put my gloves on, dude. All right. An unprovoked verbal attack. I don't know. Okay. Uh, well, Leffen does know every matchup well. Okay, stop playing him. Why did you keep playing with him? I'm sorry. I just need to put this into context that I know of from the little I know about this community. If Leffen was warming up for a match against the Luigi, I'm not saying he was. I don't think it mentions if he was warming up. He just says Leffen wanted to play him, or Leffen sat down. Friendly match, but also displays. Um, they don't mention it. It's possible Leffen wanted to warm up. Players have been famous for warming up on people, and it's not fun. Because these are people who are trying to win, and they're using you as a sandbag. If he wasn't warming up, it's like a bigger deal. But then, like, if you're not, if just stop playing him. Just stop. Just go. I'm gonna find somebody else to play. And if he was warming you up, you could still say, "Hey, I'm done, dude. Find somebody else." Yeah. What is this music? I don't remember you, but apparently. Um, I four-stocked AGP Anthem all the time. Leffen, you really are a huge asshole. You know who was also arrogant, rude, and disrespectful and toxic? And it depends on who you talk to. Ken, the king of Smash. Everything they're saying about Leffen, people used to say Ken did all of these things. Ken was rude during friendlies. He was rude to his opponents. He was rude when he was talking to other people about them. Now, if you talk to the people he was rude to, he's a bad guy. If you talk to the people who were, Isai, for instance, who was his teammate, he would say he was just trying to keep that competitive edge. And he was mean. Mewtwo King says one of the first times he played Ken, that Ken was very rude to him. Said, "You'll never be one of the best, kid. Like, you're bad. Quit." I, this if you're in a competitive scene, especially amongst professionals, and Ken was a professional, he made his entire living off of Melee for what, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years. They're gonna swat your hand, and it's either you get better like Mewtwo King, or you quit like these people who Leffen were mean to. I don't know what to say. I suck at gloving now. I can't even stay on beat. Okay. Leffen serves no point but to leech massive amounts of positive energy from our scene. A threat to not only the Smash community, but society. He is both a psychopath and a narcissist to a dangerous degree. This text is regarding the unfortunately necessary ban of a narcissistic chronic liar who has done more than you can imagine to rip. He ripped it apart? He didn't rip it apart. He literally didn't. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been removed from the Swedish community, but to say he ripped apart, oh, he did more than you can imagine to rip it apart. Right, I get it. Okay, so he failed because you guys are, taking the red pill, I guess. Please be over. I want to be done.
After reading these testimonies, it should be clear why I've been telling you that this community will be destroyed in another 10 years. We've been on a time bomb this entire time, and the press has done nothing but cover it up. Several of the people who testified for Evidence.zip were able to predict that Leffen had the potential to fully erode the Smash community, even internationally, if he wasn't banned. That was 8 years ago. The fact that I can look at the state of Smash in 2021 and reasonably compare it to totalitarianism means that the prophecy has become all too real.
Whoa. You say, because of this, it is proof in 10 years. He didn't rip apart the Smash community in Sweden. No one person could ever do that. The only way one person could do that is by illegal means, probably physically violent at one point. I'm not even kidding. Or people, all of them, would have had a massive victim complex and allowed one person to destroy a community that, it wasn't big, but I think they had 50 people go to tournaments. One person can't stop 49 other people, straight up, unless they're victims. And they're not all victims. And he didn't. So I don't understand why he says in 10 years this happened. Like, I've known him for 10 years. And this proves that in 10 years this. Because in the 10 years you've known him, it doesn't, nothing happened. He's an asshole. We've had assholes in Smash. We've had assholes in sports. We have assholes in the presidency. And, that's life. Deal with it.
Throughout his career, Leffen has lied about the origins of Evidence.zip. Clearly, it wasn't the conspiracy he wants you to believe it was. Evidence.zip was a collective warning that Leffen is a dark tetrad with the potential to fully erode the Smash community, nice. And the fact that this was kept hidden from people is nothing short of a travesty.
It wasn't hidden.
An especially important quote from Evidence.zip that I want to highlight is one from Armada's.
This was so not hidden that many times I was watching Melee tournaments on Twitch, and people would make fun of the fact that Leffen was banned in Sweden. None of this was hidden. We all knew the reason. It was because he was a cancerous individual. I'm not saying he really was that cancerous, but that was the reason he was removed. We're going to take this cancerous cell and just take it out of the body, the organism. Everybody knew about this. This was not a secret.
Testimony. This is the quote that states, at one point, Leffen basically told me and another Swedish smasher that he thinks humans shouldn't show as much respect toward each other as they do most of the time. This quote reveals that Leffen is not only a Machiavellian, but high on the Machiavellian scale, meaning he believes that empathy is naive and that deception is necessary in order to get ahead. Essentially, high Mocs view people as chess pieces that can and should be used.
Again, I want to talk about my point again. I think it's empathetic to sometimes not show respect. You may say that's backwards. The reason why I think it is empathetic is I brought up the example of the communities I've been involved in where I feel like people aren't putting in their fair share of work, but then still want to be assisted. They're being disrespectful. So I'm returning the same emotion they're giving to me. That's empathy. I'm not saying this is what Leffen did, and I'm not saying I always do that. But that's why I believe that ideology of my own.
In order to serve one's self-interests. I'm pointing this out because, as I told you earlier, Machiavellianism is the most important Dark Triad trait to keep in mind. It is the trait that will cause us to have to go back and reinvestigate several of the things that Leffen has done in order to determine how they may have been politically motivated. As you'll eventually find out, you should never underestimate the degree of bad faith and pathological lying that high mocks such as Leffen will utilize. Another important aspect of Evidence.zip is that it reveals Leffen's MO. From an early age, Leffen showed that he would latch on to prospects who he'd choose on a whim, then hunt them down until their careers were over. He would go to any lengths necessary to defraud these prospects, using strategies such as blackmail, gaslighting, and rumor spreading in order to ruin them. At first, these prospects seemed to be limited to those with physical or mental handicaps, but as time went on, Leffen began to target people for political reasons as well.
Not only political reasons, pants reasons.
I know this because I was the first person he chose for these purposes. In my case, Leffen seemed to dislike the fact that I had respected opinions that could potentially challenge his rhetoric, and so he wanted me gone. Unsurprisingly, Leffen has continued to target people who could challenge his market share for similar reasons in recent years. This would happen right in front of everyone's eyes, but it was well disguised, and so people failed to realize that there was...
Wasn't well disguised. I've seen Leffen get into an argument with anyone at any second. He mentions that Leffen argues with people with no... Yes, he will, at any moment, check his Twitter and start bitching about what somebody said. He does that with every top player. He does that with worse players, as mentioned, and he does that with randos. This is... I don't know. I mean, Leffen shouldn't waste so much of his time doing it. That's what I would say. That's the biggest crime, is that Leffen wastes a lot of his time arguing with people who aren't worth it. Hack's money may be worth it, but the randos probably... Right. Dude, Leffen, all he does in chat is bitch about chat. That's all he does. I've watched his stream a few times, and he just bitches about chat. It's like, just... Bro, what is chat gonna do? Do you think chat's gonna sit down and go over the matchup data between Fox and Marth and why it's 60-40 in your opinion, but why maybe it's not? No, they're just good. No one in your chat is good at this game. Or no one is even close to your level. It's really stupid. It's really stupid Leffen does this. And it's really stupid I'm watching a video talking about Leffen doing this. I don't know. This is more stupid than what Leffen does. Straight up.
The pattern.
This should be illegal. Straight up. Chapter 4.